Now, the prompt is, why don't you get a job? And every one of our prompts comes from someone who interacted with the Wandering Aesthetics Facebook page and the Facebook question, which was, hey, what prompts do you want this year? And this prompt specifically was actually courtesy of Connie Williams. So give Connie a shout out there. Yeah. So when I was thinking about why don't you get a job, I wanted to maybe connect it to Connie, and actually this story happened around the time where I was just getting to know Connie Williams. And the big thing that, the way that you're involved, Connie, is that this was right after Trail Magic. And if you remember, and some of you might even remember, we did a show called Trail Magic featuring Priscilla and Nikki Romo. And Priscilla Smith and Nikki Romo, and it was about Grandma Gatewood, who thru-hiked the Appalachian Trail. She was the first woman to thru-hike the entire trail. Well, as luck would have it, I got an infection in my knee so that I was hobbling around during Trail Magic. The person who hiked the Appalachian Trail looks like a cripple while we're trying to raise money for the Buckeye Association and have the show about Grandma Gatewood, of course. Well, the infection, I'm not sure how it started, but it basically made my left knee swell up, and it looked like there was this little almost wart on it. And so I read a lot and tried to figure out how I could make it go away without seeing the doctor, because I didn't have insurance and I sure as hell didn't want to visit one of those doctors. So I heard that warm compresses really helped, so I was starting to wet rags and place it on my knee from time to time. And eventually it started to bleed, and this is a little disturbing, but ooze. And I was like, all right, that's good. Get it out, get it out. Better out than in, right? Better out than in. Get that infection out of my knee. Well, we were about to head to Florida. And the longer version of the story is Florida and the ocean cured my knee. I didn't need to go to a doctor. I do have a scar, though, so there's that. But the shorter version is about a job that we needed to procure before we left to Florida. And this job happened to be house sitting, which is something that Benji and I for a while were really good at. We love doing it. Not that we're bad at it now, we just sort of have our own house that we have to house sit, so things changed. But at that time, we were always in an apartment with roommates, so we could just kind of be like, hey, peace out, we're gonna pay like half the rent and go live the place for free for a few months. And so, thankfully, we had amazing roommates who let us do that. But this was our chance to go and show a new couple that we would be a good fit for house sitting their place. And they lived in a really big place. In fact, some of you might have even seen it before, not anymore because it's been torn down, but it's the Saddleton Ranch on Merriman Road, which was, like I said, tore down a couple of years ago to make way for the Waterways Project. But the Saddletons, for those of you who don't know, are related to Sarah Jones' parents-in-law, so mother and father-in-law. And they have a beautiful house. And we were so excited at the opportunity to house sit for 3 months, because they're going to Mexico and they're going to have themselves a blast. And we're going to stay right here in Akron and have ourselves a blast. That was the plan. So we go on this unseasonably early December day. So I'm wearing shorts. And my knee is swollen up. Honestly, I don't even know if I could get pants on at the time because my knee was so swollen. So I'm hobbling around, but I get myself to the kitchen table because Lynn is from Canada and Michael is from England. So they love tea and cookies. So of course we're sitting around and having tea and cookies, and it's very proper and beautiful. And their dog, Cubby, this really old black Labrador, he is just all about me, sniffing. And you know, I love dogs, and so I'm just playing with him, interacting with him. But then he goes underneath the table, and he starts putting his nose on my knee, on my knee. I'm like, all right, I can deal with this. That's fine. So I'm trying to shoo him away a little bit, but at the same time, just like, all right, I'll just wait and see what happens. Well, he doesn't stop there. He begins to lick and lick and lick. And I'm like, no, this can't be good. This is gonna make it worse, right? Lick and lick and lick. And then a part of me is like, wait, can dogs' licks cure the infection? Could he like lick it out? But if he did, would he get it? But, so anyways, he's licking and licking and licking, and I can't get him to stop. Every time I push him away, I can't not get him to stop. Meanwhile, Michael and Lynn, they know that Cubby is attached to me, but they think he's just like up in my crotch. And they think he's just like sniffing there, and they're like, Cubby, bad dog. I'm like, no, that's not that. Maybe he should go away. But, so eventually they pull Cubby away, and it seems like everything is going to be okay. I stand up at one point because Michael wants to show me where the bird seed is and where the furnace is so I can change the filter. And so we have to walk through the house and outside to where their storage closet is. So I'm heading through the house, no big deal, no big deal. When we come back inside, Lynn is in a panic. She's like, Michael, there's something wrong. Look at the blood all over the house. And there is seriously a trail of legit blood just all the way from the chair to outside. But Michael doesn't see it outside because he's like super hyper-focused on right here. And so they're like, oh, what could this be? Oh no, Cubby! It must be Cubby! His paw must be busted! So they're like searching for Cubby, and meanwhile I'm like grabbing a rag and wiping everything off. I'm wiping outside so they don't see it, wiping my knee, and by this point my sock is drenched in blood. But again, they're not quite keenly aware of that. So at this point I tell Benji, hey, we need to leave because I'm like bleeding profusely from my knee. I don't know why, but we need to go. And so Benji's like, all right, we got this. So he gets us up the stairs, and I make sure that I'm catching all the blood in my hand. And then they come up, and they're like, all right, so we'll get you the keys next week. Does that sound good? And I'm like, yeah, sounds good. And they're like, by the way, do you know, like, what happened? Were one of you bleeding? And I know I looked at them, and I said, oh, no, it was definitely the dog. Always blame the dog.